Hey, what's up? I'm Movie Cat, aka Roller Coaster Rider, and I am here with Kay, and we're reviewing the first video game adaptation on this series, Assassin's Creed, starring Michael Fassbender, Marianne Cotillard, Jeremy Irons, Brendan Gleeson, Michael K. Williams, and a bunch of people. Okay. I was confused throughout most of this movie, and all I could think about was references to other movies. For example, almost any time Jeremy Irons spoke, I just had that thought of his scene from Dungeons and Dragons where he went, "Everyone, with the it doesn't matter what." Marianne Cotillard, I don't know if she got Botox or something. She did not emote at all during this movie. And one, I don't know if this was intentional or accidental humor, but they talk about needing the, what is it, animas or something?
Right. When he gets attached to
Yeah.
a memory machine.
However, the way it's announced, it makes you think of the word enemas. And it does look like it's being inserted into Michael Fassbender's tush.
No.
It's
He
in his
has
back?
he has a belt around him and it hooks to his sides, and then he has something at the back of his neck that does the memory.
Okay. Uh,
So when they attach the thing to his neck and he goes back in time, they know exactly where he is from his memory. It protrudes like a picture of where he is.
can you talk about the plot of this movie? Because I'm not sure I can. And by the way, neither of us are huge video game people, and neither of us have played this game, so this is our introduction. Is there anything you want to say about?
Well, Marion's character,
I mean,
she
to the plot of the movie to introduce it.
nah.
Okay.
Marion's character is she's a scientist. So they have gathered everybody that they can, that they thought were involved with the golden apple, the apple from the Garden of Eden. And so when people are done with whatever they need them from, then they're either walking around like zombies or just walking around and just plotting to assist the next person that comes in, to help them. So everybody has supposedly died, and then now they're in this building where this lady, Marion, she's the daughter to Jeremy Irons, and Jeremy Irons speaks with
A British accent?
no, not so much. He speaks to the hierarchy of the church and everything to try to find this apple. So he needs to find the apple because all of his funding is being cut, 2 million or something a year, or
I don't.
whatever it was. So he uses his daughter's scientific to find out where it is. So then they finally find it.
It's still recording.
He had given it to Christopher Columbus, and he told Christopher Columbus to take it to his grave. So then they all show up in England. They retrieve the golden egg at his grave in the cathedral, and then they have this dedication to Jeremy Irons, which his daughter is really the one that found the egg through Michael Fassbender's character. So then everybody is in robes and everything, and
Hoodies.
hoodies, whatever you want to call them. So they don't know for sure who actually, give it away, kills Jeremy Irons at the end, but they do save the egg or the apple, and I guess life goes on.
Is there do you have anything you want to bring up to the movie? Because I kept thinking of.
Well, they keep having flashbacks. So he lives in this city and it's like a desert town, whatever.
Yeah, that's from like the 1800s or so.
No,
Yeah, didn't it say like 1690 or
no.
something?
This is when he was a little boy.
Oh, that.
And then
Okay.
his father shows up
That was during the
and
1980s then.
his mother was ill and his mother kind of through the father committed suicide, and then he went from foster home to foster home and he caused problems and then he was killing people. He ended up in prison and then they injected him to his death, and then he ends up at this place. So and then he does meet up with his father. His father was also at this scientific whatever you want to call it.
Research center, I guess.
Right. So it's she being a scientist, she creates this technology that goes into his memory block and just finds out where the golden apple is. So and then I
Oh,
guess all
sorry.
of this, some of the scenes I could relate to that could be in a video game, but I don't play video games, so I guess it's kind of hard.
Uh, one of the ending battle scene where it was like a bunch of people, that reminded me of two separate movies. It reminded me of Dracula Untold because you saw them being like killed, but you didn't
No
really see,
blood.
yeah, blood. And it was like, so it wasn't filmed very well. And it also reminded me of, I was going to review this movie, but I lost the data, so I'm not going to. Sinister Squad, which was like a Suicide Squad knockoff.
Yeah.
You saw a little bit of it, but you left. That's how the ending was, where it was just so many like people knifing each other that the movie that it just got completely confusing. And this movie, because it jumps back to like three or four different time zones,
Mhm.
that got confusing, and it almost becomes like a Nightmare on Elm Street thing where he's not connected to the animas, but he's like, when he punches someone, he realizes that there's no one there. So it's like he's doing dream sequences along that point. So I found this movie very confusing and kind of, it was to the point where it was so confusing that I was kind of bored.
Mhm.
Like, we had to do this movie in two sections because after I think 40 less than 40 minutes, I was like, uh, I can't strongly follow it. I need to take a nap.
Yeah, but if you're a gamer, I can see where the movie might have, been some of the fight sequences and, hurtling up sides of buildings and everything and trying to get away. And they seem to have this hawk that seems to follow them
Oh,
around.
thank you. That was another movie. That was another thing. So you finish that. It made me think of something else.
No, that's okay.
They have a hawk or eagle that shows up multiple times, and all it made me think of was those eagles in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Those are those. If spoiler alert of those movies, at the end of those films, a group of eagles come in and save the day.
Yeah. But in the long run, they did save the apples, so and what did his mother tell him? You are assassins in the night to save the light or something. I don't remember exactly what her words are. So, towards the end, he has all these flashbacks. His dad is there when he was younger, his mom is there to, help him through everything that he was going through. And, he was so against his dad, but they needed to save the apple. If the wrong people got the apple, then mankind would just be ruined,
I
so to speak, I guess.
thought I wanted to say something else. I can't remember. Oh well. Um, one thing I will say is that we decided to try a drinking game, but it didn't really work. So here's our drinking game. We drank water, and I know you're going to as well. Wink. Um, take a sip every time the word assassin,
Or
assassins,
Creed.
creed,
Or
or
hoods.
no, or animas or enemas. Every
Yeah,
time
but
that is
I thought we
said,
also did it when somebody put their hood up. You
that
know,
didn't happen as much.
yeah, that's true. They did show him, descending from building sides, way, way up, just like the eagle. But you know what? If you're into the games and that, you might like the movie. Second time I've seen it, so I really can't say much about it. It's still about the same.
I would just say watch. It's not that great of a movie. I wouldn't.
I know, but if you're gonna do a rental and you like the medieval times of the swords and knives and you know jumping and running and climbing sides of buildings and everything, you might enjoy it. If you're a gamer, you might enjoy it. But to me,
If you find that stuff interesting, just watch Disney's Aladdin.
well, okay. Anyway, if you're bored, go ahead and get it. If you can get it free from your library, I would do that. I wouldn't pay to rent it. So that's my opinion, and have a good night.
Bye.